Hey, to professional sarcastic man in seeker of attention, Odds Chris here with reviews on Riri Williams' Ironheart number 5 and Thanos number 1. So starting off with Ironheart, written by Eve L. Ewing, art by Luciana Vecchio, coloring by Matt Miller, and the cover by Amy Reeder. So, against her mother's wishes, Riri goes out being a superhero and patrolling, doing recon on her friend Daja, see where she's going, what's up with her, finding more clues to her Daja's kidnapping, and it leads her to Daja confronting Thomas Birch, the city council guy, who's it's revealed that he's been using the children to steal data in order to make sure that he can win his next win the next election for himself, etc. Riri is able to defuse the situation even when Midnight's fire arrives, revealing that what Birch is doing is part of his plans, part of his, he's a tool, that Birch is a tool in the service of destiny. They get into a scuffle, but he's able to escape before the authorities are able to deal with him. But Riri, having filmed everything through her armor, is able to give them all the evidence to clear up what's going on with the Daja, Midnight's fire, and what Birch is doing, imprisoning him, and that's it. A nice simple end to this story. To whatever, the plot kind of got a bit messy, and a lot of parts it's just like, what was the plot? But this was a nice simple resolution, brought all of it back together. Didn't really finish the parts with Midnight's fire, but the plot with Daja's kidnapping, the kids stealing data of total strangers, etc., or select people, that's all nice and simply resolved. So 4 out of 5 for the story. The art by Vecchio and coloring by Miller, 4 out of 5. Art was really good in a lot of parts. I'm growing more onto Riri's armor. It's looking much better. I find it weird in some parts that when she's in the shadow, sometimes the coloring in the armor looks better in shadows when it's in darker places. I don't know why. That could just be me, but it looks better for some reason. I don't know. But overall, like the art and the coloring, 4 out of 5. The cover by Amy Reeder, 4 out of 5, despite the fact it really has nothing to do with this issue. It's got good art and coloring on it regardless. So that was it. That was the end of Ironheart's first story arc, and that is the end for me picking up this series. I've decided to drop this one. It's not important. It's not something I have to buy, but I thought I'd see how the first story arc went, and it was good. Pros that Eve Ewing writes a better Riri Williams than Brian Michael Bendis could. Her creator. She gave Riri actual flaws, an actual character. She developed. She wasn't a pompous, condescending bitch like she was in Bendis's run. No one praised and pretty much worshipped her as like, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. You could never do anything wrong. And this, she's treated like everyone else. It's just like, you've got responsibilities. Just because you're a superhero doesn't mean you get to ignore them, etc. You're not safe from those because you're Ironheart and all of that. So definitely props to Eve Ewing for that, making Riri an actual character. But the plot was the main kind of problem. It was a mess after probably like issue number 2. It's just like, where's this plot going? I thought this was about a kidnapping. Then there's stuff about like a ninja wanting to recruit her. Like, what's going on there? It's just, Eve Ewing's a good writer, just not good with structuring plot. So that is it. Farewell, Riri Williams, Ironheart. On to Thanos number 1, a new miniseries. Trying to cash in on that MCU money, I see. Pretty much, that's that is the only legitimate reason this exists, because Avengers, particularly Infinity War, not Endgame, because the subject of this was something that's touched upon in Infinity War, and that's Thanos and Gamora's kind of relationship, her being raised by Thanos. So, written by Teenie Howard, art by Ariel Olivetti, coloring by Antonio Fabella, and the cover by Jeff DeCarl. So, the whole story is told by Gamora recounting the story she doesn't want to regret telling, and that's how she was raised by Thanos. So Thanos and his crew heading off. They're fighting off against Magnus, trying to stop him. As Thanos says, Thanos' computer says that Magus, leader of the Universal Church, is his primary threat. So he wants to deal with him. And whenever before they can go on a mission, Thanos kills a member of the crew in order to see Death, but Lady Death always evades him. That's until he sees footage of Death with a young Gamora. So they go down to the planet. They're confronted by Magus, but he leaves while the rest of his crew fight. So does Magus. Magus leaves as well until he meets Gamora, who can also see Lady Death. Story 2.5, 3 out of 5. We'll go in the middle, 2.75. This was slightly below average. I honestly, I really went in with no expectations, and I just found this boring. This was just boring, and I don't see why this needs to be a story apart from Avengers Infinity War exists and we need to try and cash in on it. Like, do we really need a story about Thanos and Gamora's, like, their history together? Not really. Like I said, this probably only exists because of Infinity War. And also, if you want an in-comic reason why, because of the current Guardians of the Galaxy arc with everyone believing Gamora could be the new Thanos, because Thanos' fake will of like, I transferred my mind into someone else, so have fun dealing with that. Them assuming the obvious person is the one who killed him, Gamora. So you want an in-comic reason why? That, if you want a legitimate actual reason, MCU cash grab fail. Yeah, the story was not interesting. And this is a $4.99 comic. It's not worth the price. This really could have been downsized, cause it really just drags on in parts. Do we really need to see a lot of these? Just like his crew, just discussing like their day-to-day lives, the missions, etc. Seeing all these like random missions that have nothing to do with the overall plot. A lot of it could have been cut. This honestly could have just been a $3.99 comic. There are definitely quite a few parts the editor should have said, yep, let's get rid of that. Really nothing to do. We don't need it. Has nothing to do with the story. Doesn't add anything to said story. Cut it and we'll take the price down by $1. So, yep. The art by Olivetti, coloring by Fabella. 3.5. Definitely in like close-up scenes and a lot of the environmental scenes, or just wide shot scenes. So like this is where the art was at its best. The rest was above average. Now I've seen better, but it's not terrible art. The cover by Jeff DeCarl. 4 out of 5. It's not a bad looking cover. It's a good cover. Art and coloring on it is really good. So that's really all I have to say. So this is pointless. It really doesn't need to exist. Honestly, this is just, it's a waste of 6 issues. It's a waste of a lot of paper, to be honest. I think my only experience with Teeny Howard as a writer was Marvel Knights 20th, and that, much like this, that was a waste of time as well. Um, that's almost 50 Australian dollars I ain't getting back, and this is almost 10 Australian dollars I ain't getting back either. So that is all for those two. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.